scriptures, histories, and companions of the first Nazarene. We will uncover the long-hidden ancient books, and we will read them. We will discover the intimate stories of our ancestors, the Nazarenes, and we will recount them. And those brave souls who established our faith, people like the brothers and sisters of our Savior, we will name them, many for the very first time, and they will be strangers no more. This is your host, Jackson Snyder of the Netzar Yahadim. For more information about the first Nazarene, join us at theyahad.org, THEYAHAD.org. Until then, we hope you will enjoy each broadcast of the first Nazarene.
Hello, Havarim. I hope you are having a great day in our Father. I'm here to tell you about the Nazarene Acts, volumes 1 through 3, with 2 and 3 being brand new this year. These volumes altogether have almost 900 pages of apostolic adventures, speeches, and debates from Rome to Jerusalem and back again. Imagine a biblical Acts of the Apostles that features not Paul, but Simon Peter, Simeon Kepha. It's absurd that the redactor of the New Testament Acts nearly leaves the apostle to both Jews and Gentiles out of his account. Well, there is a good reason, but we'll have to leave that until later. Now, imagine an Acts of the Apostles featuring Shimon Kepha and his associates on the mission fields with enough stories, healings, history, wonder works, and adventure to fill up 900 pages. And that's what I have for you, and you'll not be disappointed. The author of many of the accounts in the Nazarene Acts was Flavius Clement, or Clement, probably the same one from Philippians 4:3. A young Roman sophisticate that James the Just, brother of Yeshua, appointed to be the secretary for Kepha while on his journeys. James kept a library of apostolic acts in the Jerusalem vault, which included Peter's acts, speeches, debates, none of which are found in the New Testament. Yet the Roman Catholic Church declares this Clement to be the fourth pope, serving as Peter's successor from AD 92 to 101. While the Protestant Church entirely ignores these authentic texts, and the Hebrew Roots movement and the other movements, I just don't think they know about them. But if they did, and they used them, they would become much more authentic than they are today. By the way, the Catholic Church makes Peter the first Jewish pope, with Clement as the only Gentile pope who converted to Orthodox Judaism just in time to be hailed as pope. And the story of his conversion to Judaism through Rav Akiva is also revealed in these volumes. Quite interesting. First of all, Volume 1. It's been around for about 10 years. I've given away thousands of them and sold thousands of them. What a great surprise. With the proceeds going into mission work through the Vero Yahad. This is the expanded version I'm talking about, which includes the recognitions of Clement. It features true Hebraic names and terms and a complete glossary, and it's about 300 pages long. This book is still getting a lot of attention from Hebrew root scholars, university and otherwise, for it retains the stories, doctrine, and preaching of the earliest pre-Christian Nazarenes, that is, the branches, and Ebionites, the poor, who were among the believers connected to Yeshua and the first century assembly in Jerusalem. We also find in there the overseer Yaakov HaZadik, that is James the Just, and its other celebrity pillars like Shimon Kepha, Yosef Barnava, Zakkai, and of course Flavius Clement the Epitomist, who was a close relative to the later Flavian Roman emperors like Vespasian, Titus, and Domitian. The former two were the conquerors of Jerusalem and destroyers of the temple. Oh, by the way, Clement's brothers are also along, and they also became part of Kepha's preaching retinue. Here's the beginning of the story. Clement hears Barnava preaching in Rome. He's shaken up by his words, and he follows Barnava to Israel. There, Clement is introduced to Yaakov HaZadik, James the Just, by Barnava. Since Clement is a youthful scholar, very interested in philosophy, and, he says, addicted to learning about the afterlife, James wonders how to rid himself of him. What's a Gentile doing here? Oh, I know what I'll do. And he commissions this young Roman out on the hard road to record Kepha's acts and preaching in 30 small books. Those books are contained in the 3 volumes of the Nazarene Acts. Now, Clement is serious. He journals Kepha's preaching, acts, and debates about their stopovers in travel, their community rules, their confrontations, the lost doctrines like the true prophet doctrine, the Navi Emet, and the standing man teachings about demons and how to cast them out, why Jews mustn't dine with Gentiles nor eat unclean meats. The answer to that is worth the price of the book. And what place Torah has in the assembly and in the life of the Nazarene, plus much, much more. Even the series of public debates between Kepha and Shimon the Mag, Simon Magus. They are all recorded here. Volume 1 also contains the lost ascents of James, that is the Anabath Moa Yakabu, the preaching of Peter, the Kerygmata Petru, the recognitions, the Arabic recension, the lost chapters of the recognitions from the homilies, and some private epistles to headquarters, Clement to James, Kepha to James. We also find something very unusual, even strange. Paul's pre-conversion physical attack on James at the temple steps, leaving James for dead, and the exposition of Simon Magus' black magic arts used to prove that he is the great God. Clement records everyone's words, preachings, commands, and debates, and we render them in modern English with words and tech terms in transliterated Hebrew with a glossary. Read this and you'll retain maybe about 150 transliterated Hebrew words that you can use next time you're in your roots group. Now, everybody will want to read this once you do and can testify of it, and more than you can imagine have read it, including church groups, church members, university students, and university professors. It's Hebrew roots material at its finest, most authoritative, and most authentic. By request, you can get the audiobook free, which includes more material, including the Great Demise, that is, the accounts of the apostolic martyrdoms. And by the way, the first edition of the first volume of the Nazarene Acts is in audio, and you can listen to that audio free of charge on YouTube, or you can download it, again free of charge, from NazareneActs.com. Now we're going to go on to volumes 2 and 3. These just came out this year, 2024. We've got volumes 2 and volume 3 in one softcover. Kepha and Clement are now in Rome in pursuit of Simon Magus, who's now claiming to be the great God soon after the Romans erected for him a public altar. That's a historical fact. Also, we find the full account of Simon Magus, Kepha, and Paul contesting their innocence before Nero the Beast for causing local riots. Tell you a secret, somebody will be executed after that trial. Plus, many secret Clement's history of the world, formerly called the Kitab al-Magall, with the details of Messiah's genealogy from Adam and Eve, with many details that Genesis omits. It's exhaustive. Secret Clement. But more. Add to these the stories, histories, and martyrologies of Simon Peter, Clement of Rome, James the Just, Simon Magus, and Nero. For they're all in Rome at the same time. You don't think Peter ever went to Rome? Read these accounts. You'll change your mind just as I did. Clement continues with his journals of the travels and speeches of Shimon Kepha. You'll also find in there Justin Martyr and his classroom of students who were early victims of the Great Tribulation, along with the righteous women, saints, and martyrs. Volume 2 takes up where Volume 1 left off. As I mentioned, all cast in modern English with important words left in transliterated Hebrew and that Hebrew-English glossary. The 2 volumes in one, volumes 2 and 3, almost 600 pages, include the following letters, books, and histories, now in the modern vernacular of American English. No more of that Elizabethan stuff. We have editor's notes. We've got a list of the other books and translations by yours truly, Clement's biographies, Clement and Domitilla, his wife. She was also a famous believer in her time and was in on a plot to murder the Emperor Domitian, a successful plot, I might add. Clement's homilies, Clement's secret book of rolls, Peter's biographies, Peter's Acts in Rome, plus the Acts of Peter by another ancient authority, that well-known fragment of Peter's lost gospel, which some very worthy scholars say is the original gospel before the canonical gospels. We've got Peter, Paul, and Simon and their acts in Rome, the saga of Perpetua and Potentiana, James the Just biography, James and the Enemy, the incident on the temple steps, Clement's demise in exile, Peter's demise in Rome. There's another story of Clement's martyrdom in Rome. We've got them both in there. And James the Just's martyrdom by Clement, Rusticus, and the demise of Justin and his students. Clement to the Corinthians, known as First Clement, fully annotated. My own translation, plus an ancient sermon attributed to Clement. It's called Second Clement. It's annotated. Pliny's letter to Trajan about the judging of believers, and Trajan's reply, everybody should read that. Peter's letters to James, Clement's letters to James, Josephus, many mentions of Yeshua, Yaakov, and Yochanan, also some from his lost Aramaic version of Jewish wars. We have the Apocalypse of Peter, Yeshua's words from the lost Nazarene Gospels, not Gnostic, Ebionite beliefs and practices, and a little essay by a 13-year-old called We Can't Call Them Christians. Finally, some words about me, and I'm Jackson Snyder. The Cure for Insomnia. The Nazarene Acts set of books with your New Testament Acts is about all that can be authentically known of these first heroes of the Messianic faith, the apostolic faith, at least until the remnants of books that the 2nd century Romans and the 4th century church destroyed pop up out of the ground, if they ever do. The Nazarene Acts series of volumes are sponsored and produced by the Vero Essene Yahad, it's my group, Messianic Essenes, composed of both Nazarene Israelites and Ebionites, but we get along pretty well. Our headquarters is in Vero Beach, Florida, and if you ever get around here, stop in and see us, would you? To kind of finish up, I want to read to you a 5-star review, one of many, by K.R., a Torah-centric believer. She writes, "Why haven't we heard these priceless words during all those years in the pews?" My first impression after reading this book is that it's a love letter between Peter and a new convert, Clement. Peter lovingly teaches Clement the history of man from the garden to after the death of Messiah Yeshua. He grooms Clement to take his place as overseer upon Peter's martyrdom. Clement takes thorough notes of all that Peter teaches him, including the content of a series of public debates between Peter and Simon Magus, the sorcerer. Clement learns why Messiah came in the 1st century and how he felt about animal sacrifices, a very good and appropriate section, and the state of the temple in the 1st century. She continues, "Until I read this book, I didn't know Peter as a mature, spirit-filled apostle. His true name's translation is refreshing and enlightening on many levels." And that, my friend, is a review of Volume 1, published on Lulu, available in PDF for no charge. But I would hope that you would consider buying these 3 volumes. They're on sale right now because we are now introducing Volume 2 and 3, which I really just finished up. And so I want to get it out to people. So you can get the free PDFs and the Volume 1 audiobook at this link, NazareneActs.com. Or contact me for a significant discount on the printed version. It's already discounted, I think, right now for all 3 volumes, 40%. I can give you my little bit of profit on it if you need it, and if you'll contact me and ask me about it. Also at NazareneActs.com, you can find the links to both buy those books, listen to the audiobook, or download the PDF books. Oh, by the way, you can contact me for that discount at yahad.me, M-E. And as I said, any profits from this book go directly to Hebrew Roots ministry works around the world, and especially in Haiti right now. We have 2 schools there, 245 kids in school, primary and secondary school. I think that we're the sole financial supporter for those schools. You may have heard of our director down there, Jean Finet Hanare, who we call Finney in the Yahad. How much? Well, let me go look. I'm looking because I forgot on eBay, all 3 volumes together is $44. There's a slim profit margin there. Or we can take a best offer. If for some reason you can't afford that, it's worth it. Volume 1 alone is $24.50 plus shipping. Volume 2 and 3 alone is $48. So look, what is it? 24, it'd be 52. We're talking about $72 for them separately. You'd be saving a whopping $28 for them both. That's an incentive. I need to get this out, especially this new one. As I mentioned, I sent out thousands of Volume 1 in the last 10 years, which is Kifa in Israel. But the second volume is primarily Kifa in Rome. And what stories? I just know as a translator, as a redactor, that it's true. There's nothing in there that is too fantastic as much of the other Apocrypha, and why this and probably hundreds of other authentic books by the apostles were cast out or burned by Rome in the 1st and 2nd centuries especially. Oh yeah, don't forget 3rd and 4th centuries too, especially when Constantine got in there. Oh, some of them gotta pop up out of the ground sometime soon, like the Dead Sea Scrolls. I pray about that just about every day. Let them pop up. So going out to NazareneActs.com, there are several of my other translations out there. I have a translation of Henoch. It's called Enoch Sky Tripper. I translated the book from Ethiopic, put in the Hebrew parts that were missing. I didn't use any of that churchy traditional language. I used the Hebraic language. If you translated it from Ethiopian, why would you use Hebraic language? Well, that's because the Hebrew was the original language for Enoch, or its associate, Aramaic, but the Hebrew is lost, except for small parts of it. It's found in the Dead Sea Scrolls and elsewhere. All right, my plea is over now. At our YouTube channel, there are nearly 2,000 presentations. I've presented most of them, and lots of subjects, even oddball subjects. I don't push conspiracy theories. Let liars lie still. As one notorious singer wrote, just give me the truth. And now I pray blessings upon you and your families as you fulfill Torah, keep the feasts, now is feast season, and support missions overseas so that we can get the word of Yeshua, Yaakov HaZadik, a rightly translated Bible, and the Torah out to the peoples of the world. Thank you. Demise section of the Nazarene Acts Volume 1 audio book. This is part of the bonus that you get with the audio book that is not in Volume 1. I hope you like it. If you do, why don't you let me know? Yahad, YAHAD.me.
After Paulos said these and such like things, the Yehudaim went and said to Kifa, Paulos of the Hebrews has come, and entreats you to come to him, since those who have brought him say that he cannot meet whomsoever he may wish until he appear before Caesar. But Kifa, having heard, and not believing their report, rejoiced with great joy, and rising up, immediately went to him. And seeing each other, they wept for joy, and long embracing each other, they bedewed each other with tears. And when Paulos had related to Kifa the substance of all his doings, and how through the disasters of the ship he had arrived, Kifa also told him what he had suffered from Shimon HaMag and all his plots. And having discussed all these things, Paulos left there at about evening. And at the morning's dawn of the next day, oh, look, Kipha is coming. Kipha finds a multitude of the Yahudim right in front of Paulos' door. There happened to be a great uproar between the Nazarene Yahudim and the Goyim, for on the one hand the Yahudim said,
"We are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, the friends of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and all the prophets, with whom Elohim spoke, to whom he showed his own mysteries and his great wonders. But you of the Gentiles are no great thing in your bloodline. And if you should be, you have become polluted and abominable by idols and graven images."
While the Yehudim were saying such things, the Goyim answered, "We, when we heard the truth, immediately followed it, abandoning our errors. But you, both knowing the mighty deeds of your fathers and seeing the signs of the prophets and having received the Torah, and also going through the sea with dry feet, and even having seen your enemies sunk in its depths, and the pillar of fire by night and of cloud by day, shining upon you, and manna having been given to you out of the sky, and water flowing to you out of a rock, after all these things you fashioned to yourself the idol of a calf, and worship the graven image. But we, having seen none of such signs, we believe in Elohim's Savior, who you have forsaken in unbelief." While they were contending in these words and the like, the apostle Paulo said that they ought not make such attacks upon each other, but that they should rather give heed to this, that Elohim had fulfilled his promises that he swore to Abraham our father, that his progeny should inherit all the nations.
You have been experiencing Jackson Snyder Presents on the Hebrew Nation radio station. Join us again tomorrow for another exciting revelation of the biblical, historical faith. Historical faith. Historical faith. Historical faith.
My soul was distressed from the heavenly way and was questioned by